Well, let's have a look at the next game because Sri Lanka will have 72 hours to think about it. First time, the only time in this series we're going to have a gap of 3 days and not two between one game and the next. So,
isn't the next game on the 20th?
20th.
Okay, it's on the 20th. Okay, fair enough. I lost count over there, so fair enough. So it's 18 and 20. Why was that?
As long as you won your fantasy league team, it's all accepted.
Yes, so far so good. It was good. But looking at whatever amount of time Sri Lanka has, I think, Harsha, I'll come to you first. We'll have a look at their squad perhaps. Is it about changes or is it just that, they'll have to do something with whatever resources they have?
I think this is the best they have because I heard a lot about Nisanka. I looked his scores. He hadn't got runs in England. So if you can't get into this side, then there's a problem. If you can't get into a side that is seeing the absence of Kusal Mendes, Kusal Pereira, Angelo Matthews, even maybe Dinesh Chandimal, though in this form his strike rate tends to be small, but he's still a quality player, I think, compared to some of these some of the innings that we saw today. What I think they would just look at is say, look, all of you, every one of you is good enough to get a start. Now, can you then take that start to produce a 90-95 strike rate innings and get a 65-70 and then hope that around you, someone else comes and plays the flyers. But if you're good enough to get a start, then why are you not converting it into a big score?
Zahid, you mentioned that very clearly in that mid-innings. You pointed out, we saw that scorecard. The starts will be important. Maybe it's a positive for Mickey Arthur to look at to say that, look, it's a positive. We've lost the game, but look at this. All of you were there for long enough. Can four of you maybe be there for even longer?
I think the key from Sri Lankan side in terms of batting has to be rotation of the strike. So that is something which they have to really work on. In turn, the pressure comes onto you where you're forced to play that big shot and you lose wicket. So that is something which is going to be key. You saw Shikhar Dhawan take that winning single where there were about 3-4 fielders there on the offside and he still managed to squeeze one. So that shows that the experience and the ability to understand that how can I play with a soft hand, just dab and run. So that is something which Sri Lankan batters really need to work towards. If they're able to do that, then with this new rule also, you're having 5 fielders inside the ring. There is enough pressure on the bowlers. You just have to create that scenario and situation where the bowlers feel that pressure and commit those errors. At the moment, that has not been really applied by Sri Lankan batters, and for them, I think I'm just kind of going on Sri Lankan batting because if you don't score runs against this Indian side, you're never going to have a chance. So the key is going to be first putting those runs on board and then making the play. So that is going to be very important, and they have a very limited time to do that. So I think the game and the discussion is going to be more on these things before the next one.
Spoken like a true bowler. They didn't get enough runs. What was I supposed to do? But yeah, fair point. I think there's lots for Sri Lanka to think about. But normally when one side goes and wins the match so comprehensively, you say, well, there's nothing much to talk about from Team India's point of view. Same team, come again, do the same thing all over again. But interestingly, Harsha, it's not quite that kind of series. It's a short series. There's lots more resources to choose from in that lineup. Rahul Dravid did say not everyone will get a chance. So it's not about giving people a chance for the sake of it, but it's about looking at the future to see, is there a constructive reason for bringing someone else into the team?
Look, exactly my point. When Rahul Dravid is coach of India A, he's developing a pool of players. So he wants to put as many people in pressure situations or tense situations as possible to see if they can prove themselves and get ready. Here, his job is to win a game. I'm absolutely certain they're in touch with Virat and Ravi to say, what do we want from this series? They look back today and say, I want a little more from Bhuvneshwar. Still went for 18 runs in his last over. Maybe want a little more from Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Maybe see how Hardik Pandya goes as the series goes on. So that's why I said there's twin objectives behind this series. Winning it is primary, as always. But second is also to see what the overall national team needs. From that point of view, I think largely all Kulcha got 4 wickets. So that was another box tick. Maybe a little bit more from Bhuvi, but then remember, these guys are coming out of such a long break, such a long quarantine, that it will take them that much time.
Zahir, you concur with that? Pretty much same 11, or are you going to say that, even speak to a senior pro like Bhuvi and say, you want to break for maybe one game? Or it's been...
After such a comprehensive victory, what you want from a team is that how good are you at hitting that reset button? Because I think that is going to be the key from the Indian side. That the playing 11 pretty much is going to remain the same unless there are some injury concerns. But other than that, I think from a victory like this, you want your players to go away from this victory and come back and again start the game from 0-0, where you start with the processes. And I think to start that, you need to have that reset button. So how good are you with that, setting that reset button? That is going to be the key from the Indian management, and that's what Rahul will be focusing on to start the game again with the similar kind of intensity, similar kind of processes, and look to have the same game, or if not better. That's what Rahul has been all about when he approaches cricket, and that's what you look to do.
Let me just finish that off by asking each of you one player to watch out for from India's lineup in the next game. Harsha?
Where do I start? Because this is, you think India, we think batting. I know Zach's on this program, but we are such a batting country. The first mind first goes towards batting. But as I said, I want to look at Hardik Pandya. I want to see him bowl maybe 6-7 overs tomorrow, the day after. So that's one name I'm looking at. Bhuvi is the other name I'm looking at. But I want to see if Shaw, Ishan Kishan, Surya Kumar Yadav, can they play like this consistently? It's almost like saying, 60 kilometers an hour is what you drive, but can you drive 120 consistently on that road? So that's what I'll be very keen to see. Can they play this kind of game and produce runs consistently?
Fair enough. Zahir?
Well, are you going to ask me about one player now to pick from?
One. Okay, you can pick one from Sri Lanka maybe. Harsha's talked about Team India. You've talked a lot about the positives from Team India.
But you may want to pick from India, no?
Okay, if I have to pick one player from Sri Lanka, I think I would say Avishka Fernando. He looked good today. He got that start, and is definitely a very talented player. So I would like to see a good innings from him to create that spark in the Sri Lankan side, because when we are watching a game, you want to see that competition, right? So from India's point of view, it's hard to pick just one player. There are so many of them, and there are so many of them actually. Like today's game also, I was very happy that how easily Surya adapted to batting at number 5. So that is something which gives you that flexibility, which we are often talking about. Having that one player which can just float and adapt to any role in the team. That also gives that flexibility to a team in terms of balance. So so there are plenty of positives from India's side, but I think for the series to be interesting, you want Sri Lanka to step up, and I think to do that from the batting point of view, I'd like to see Avishka Fernando have a great match in the next one.